There we go. I love your setup. There you go. Hey,
Good.
Justin. We're good. You're now live on
How's
the
it
Laser
going,
Club.
Tor?
Oh, it's going amazing. It's just everything is an
What
adventure.
a what a treat. What a treat. I saw you post the event on
Yeah.
Facebook that you're going live in 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And then I went to the website and I saw it was starting in 3 minutes. And I registered, I signed up right away, and it brought me to YouTube Live. And as an entrepreneur, I believe in supporting other entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
So I genuinely wanted to see what you're so excited about, because if you're excited about it, I'm excited too.
Oh, and that's one of those huge insights. Like if you really believe what you're doing, doesn't matter how you do it.
Mm,
People are gonna find it. How did you like that
yeah.
process though? Like, because as entrepreneurs, keeping it stupid simple is always very hard, right?
Yeah.
Did you
Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
how it was just, was it a flow? Was it engaging? How did you feel?
Well, I can give you some some opinions about my experience. So, um, as someone who's very relational, like I will figure out how to connect with people, right? If something is meaningful to someone, I will take the steps necessary to find out why it's so meaningful to them.
Yeah.
So I clicked the image in the comments and it said to go to the link in the image. And at first I typed in legacyforge.com
Yeah.
and it didn't work. I'm like, oh no, what's wrong? And I looked again and it was the legacyforge.com. So I typed that in. And as a marketer myself, I would say that it works, but you may get more people to sign up if they can just click the link rather than type it
Exactly.
in, right?
Exactly.
So that's one thing. But again, because I really wanted to see what you're so excited about, I took the extra step and I typed it in because, well, because I care.
Exactly.
And after I signed up, I got the email. I clicked the link and it brought me to YouTube, and the event hadn't started yet. So I kind of just left it open in a window and I walked away, and all of a sudden I heard talking. I'm like, oh, I guess it started. Let me see what's going on. And I commented, you engaged, and you sent me a Zoom link, and now I'm here.
That's a beautiful freaking, like, thank you for that. Yes.
Yeah,
And that,
yeah, my pleasure.
as you say, like the that's the entire point here. We're trying to do something that hasn't been done before. Kinda. I think this has been
Mm,
done many
yeah.
times, but to make that effort, to find that link, to mistype
Mm,
it and then still go into it just pre-qualifies you. You're like-minded. You know?
yeah,
I don't talk
yeah,
to
yeah.
tire kickers. I don't talk to people who say, I want to
Mm,
do that. I wish I could do that, but they don't do that. Right?
mm,
So it's just the entire
mm,
process then. You explained that perfectly. I want this to be an event that is an experience more than just a common thing.
yeah,
And
yeah.
caring, like the thing you're saying about people really resonating with people care about something. You can care about anything in the world.
Mm, mm,
But if you don't really believe in it, they're not going to believe in you. So coming from a marketer, I love,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I'm working on something right now, and more than an offer or a program, it's more of a concept. It's more of an ideology, and that is this balance between systems and relationships.
yeah,
Because I have a business mentor, and he invested in a $10,000 program, more than that, for a year, called Scaling with Systems.
yeah. I think I've
And
heard of that.
he's it's very popular.
Yeah,
Yeah. And he's good at what he does. He learned exactly what the program is named for, which is scaling with
yeah,
systems. But I feel that when businesses are built on systems, they may lack some of that care. They may lack some of the relationships. So I'm kind of toying and testing, what is it like to scale with systems and relationships equally? How can we bring the relationships and the processes together so that, well, we can scale even more effectively
exactly,
with relationships, not just with systems?
exactly. I love that
Mm.
because relationships makes you feel. It makes you not just walk around and blind. Like we are talking right now because there's a system to the relationship. I love that.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I want to learn
Well,
more about because I've been peeking on you. Like I've been seeing like okay, I want to know more
yeah.
about what he sees that as because we clearly see it the same way. Like there needs to be more
Likewise.
love,
Yeah.
basically.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. I agree. I agree. And I'd say that most entrepreneurs, mostly everyone, if systems is on one side of the spectrum
Mm,
and relationships is on the other side, people naturally gravitate and lean towards one side.
mm.
And the growth is having a little bit more balance. And you might say that it's also some of that masculine, feminine energy or dynamic, where systems is more masculine and relationships is more feminine.
Yeah.
But there's other words for it, right? Um, it could be what is it? It could be command versus nurturing,
Yeah.
right? It could be um, what is the word? It could be
Nature versus nurture. What you've
yeah.
been
There you
told and
go.
what you've
Yeah,
learned. Yeah.
yeah. So there's a lot to that, and I believe right now, as a marketer, a lot of what is prevalent is aggressive and masculine, and I
Yeah.
think it's slowly coming into play that there's more of a softer way of marketing. And going back to what we said, a lot of individuals are trying to sell you things without even really knowing you,
Yeah.
and it doesn't really work as well as it used to, where I believe that really understanding someone, like viewing them as a whole person, and because you understand them, you share your offer if they're a good fit. It's more genuine. And to really go down this, what I believe is happening is that a lot of the marketing and sales strategy that is so common and prevalent is left over from the industrial age when people were selling things.
100%.
We're now moving into the wisdom age where people are sharing their embodied experience as wisdom. We're moving into the wisdom age, but people are still using the marketing and sales tactics to sell things when we're slowly shifting beyond that, right? We're whole people, recognizing whole people. We can't market and sell things the same way we would to people if we're offering parts of ourselves to people who are going to benefit from those pieces of ourselves to have well, really to have streamlined success, right? Like one thing I say, and I'd be curious to know your take on this. One thing I say is you're most powerfully positioned to serve the person you used to be,
Yeah.
and that's the wisdom age,
Yeah.
right? So you're offering a part of yourself to someone who's struggling like you used to. You're no longer selling a thing to a person that you see as a thing, and that's the dynamic I'm looking to change.
I love that. And I could not agree more.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's
Mm.
not about, it's the whole overweight certified fitness coach phenomenon where people
Mm.
take a course and they now sell the thing that they learn how to do in the course. But if you are talking
Mm.
from experience and just helping people through the storms you've already navigated,
Mm.
you're literally raising the frequency of the planet. Like you're helping other people become better, standing on the shoulders of others instead of trying to do it all by yourself. That's something that I've
Mm.
really felt. Like, because we are
Mm.
conditioned to believe that it's only about one thing, but as you say, it is the balance. What this wouldn't have
Right.
happened if I didn't have that one thing raising frequencies in that font, because that was the balance that I needed from the legacy,
Mm.
actually,
The Legacy Forge.
to what it was now.
That's great. Well, I also think about I think about this as weaving,
Yeah,
and in marketing we say touch points,
yeah,
but relationally it's weaving. You're weaving together those touch points to see what's going to happen. And I recall I did a question post about what legacy your business is leaving behind, and you're like, "Whoa, check this out.
Yeah.
And that really stuck out to me because I asked that question, and your business is about providing more insights into how to answer that question for people who are interested in developing a legacy. So I think that's part of the weaving, right? Like I asked the question, that made an impression on you. Your response made an impression on me. And then when I saw your consecutive posts, I'm like, huh, let me check this out, because we've been weaving, and now we've woven so much that now we're on a call together. Right now we're live on YouTube, and it's an amazing thing. And that's also how I see marketing and finding the right clients to work with. I see it as a weaving, right? It's not just touch points. It's not just cold rote systems. It's a weaving. And what I see in this dynamic shift in the coaching mentorship space, where you're really offering part of yourself, is it's not so much, is this an ideal customer? Is this a qualified client? The way I look at it is this someone I can co-create with? Is this someone I want to co-create with? Is there synergy here where even if I am the business and I'm offering my services in exchange for compensation, there's some energetic creation here that is mutually beneficial to both of us? And it's not things, it's not the industrial age, here's money for an object. It's just like we're exchanging our spirits to, again, elevate our frequencies. And if we're elevating our frequencies from this co-creation, this synergistic relationship, it's also elevating the frequency of the whole collective, right? So it's interesting that we're in such alignment here, because this is the first call we've had together, but we kind of just knew, something was special.
Exactly. Yeah, and I said this so before, like getting you on, it is about that whole thing that because you wouldn't be in this space if you didn't. And you a soul recognize each other. I love what you said about the whole qualification, because there is one sentence that kind of wrapped that up. We don't call the qualified. Well, we don't qualify the called. We call the qualified.
Yeah.
Yeah. The people who are coming in, they already know, because it's just alignment. And I'm curious, because this is gonna be a long, long, long call if I was to dive into this. But SLS is our kind of take on this this feeling, right? And it is what we use to get through everything, because it's so easy. SLS is just being in alignment with yourself, doing the things that you have to do in order to get to where you are going, basically. If you don't do the thing, you're not going to get the thing. I don't see a camera, by the way. I just see Justin.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
there we go. I'm back. Yeah.
It's basically walk the talk, right? And you are one of those people that I saw is walking the talk. You're posting real things based on the experience that I see you have. And that's the difference. You can see people shouting something just for the shout of it. But if you don't do the spew, you're not going to do anything. Yeah.
Well, that's a good point, right? This is getting interesting now, because initially there's only so many things we can talk about, because you're welcoming me onto the stage. There's only so many options for what the conversation can be. And now it's interesting because there's so many different ways it can go, and I have to choose which one thing I want to talk about, which thread I want to continue to weave with you, even though there's so many amazing things that I want to discuss. So I would say that what comes to mind is this extrovert ideal, that a happy and successful person is very loud and outgoing, and they're seen more than everyone else.
Yeah.
And what you're saying is what I agree with, that is that industrial age marketing where you have the loudest speaker and you have the most flash, you wear the brightest colors, you're the peacock with the biggest, brightest feathers, but you may not actually be saying anything that authentic, that's not that meaningful towards raising the vibration of the others around you. And it's interesting that you mentioned that, because that's immediately what comes to mind. And what I see happening now is wisdom's wisdom, man. Like, it doesn't matter how it's packaged. If you hear it and it resonates and you know it's coming from someone that is speaking their truth, you just know. And another thing that you mentioned that I want to circle back around to is how we qualify ourselves, how when you are in alignment with yourself, it's easy to connect with the individuals who also are in alignment with themselves. But it's a tough process because there's a lot of discernment that you're not going to learn unless you waste time and energy on the wrong people, right?
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? It's just like, oh man, these people are taking my energy. I don't feel great around them, but for some reason, I'm spending time with them. And when you come more into alignment with yourself, it's just easy, effortless to come into more weaving with other individuals who are in alignment with themselves. And it's just, it's amazing. And I found that more and more over the last year or so, and especially in this online space, right? Like, there's, it can be a lot of noise, as you know, in social media, but if you become aware, it becomes easy to identify, like, who's that one individual, who's this someone that I want to check out their YouTube live, right? Like, if they're doing something that's meaningful to them, I want to check it out. Like, I resonate. I'm curious. Why am I curious? Well, as you said, well, I qualified my
Yeah.
presence of being here without me even knowing it.
I love that. Like, and that's also sort of the magic here. I can say something, and as you said, your comeback, your response, your intuitive direction from what you've heard just gives me so much more to ponder on. This is the magic of the TTX.
Yeah.
You're getting so many new thoughts. It's just, yeah. Yeah, so what do you think about all that? Like, I see that if you are going around and you're affected by the people you're with at their frequency, right? You're feeling bad because you're in a group of people that don't really see life the same way. And you know that there is something better. You felt something better, but you're looking for that something better. I found that if you go out and create an adventure that is like this, it scared the shit out of me. All right, it was so freaking. I was so nervous the first time, but just doing those things and just walking the talk, right? Do the things that is gonna scare you a little bit, see what happens, and then you have something to go from, and then you can build on that. It's been saying it for years, but no people who are saying that they want success after 10 years have actually done the things that they've been reading about. We talked about it's better to write your own answers based on experience than to read other people's answers based on theirs.
Yeah.
And so it's limitless.
Yeah. So what I would say is that because we're both entrepreneurs, and there's something about entrepreneurship that it just resonates with my soul. I believe that marketing, sales, and business is how I express myself as an art form, and that art form is business and marketing and sales. And I really feel that us as individuals within the collective moving into the wisdom age, I really believe that entrepreneurship in its truest essence, entrepreneurs are forces for good.
100%.
That's how it should be.
Yeah. Sales
Unfortunately, it's not. Right. It's sales a service, right? It's not that I even really want to sell anything. Like, I just want to share more of my spirit.
Yeah. Energy exchange.
And exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
100%, because many people would, associate sales with something bad, but yeah, that is sales in its industrial evolution form. Like, if you have sales as help, then you're selling to someone. If you're recommending the best film that is going to change the life, that's sales basically. It's just how much are you willing to exchange for the energy that you provide or receive. And that is the balance again, right? If you feel good about something and you reciprocate that feeling, the world is just going to continue to grow because everyone does that. We're going to come to a point where this is the best currency to use for the symbol of success now. It makes sense. Let's just help each other.
Mm-hmm.
And then whatever comes from that is just, creative
Yeah.
structuring, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, one of these days, right? Generations from now, centuries from now, there may not be any concept of currency or money.
Right? Exactly.
Going once again back to the days of old, right? The ancient days. And one thing I've been contemplating a lot recently is the energetics of business, right? Like the soul of business, right? Like your business has a soul. My business has a soul. And this is one concept that was introduced to me by a mentor is anything, an inanimate object, a business, anything that is raising the consciousness of the collective has a soul. And I'm like, whoa, that is deep. And it's either you're intentional about it or you're not. And so I've been more and more intentional about it. Like when I'm writing copy, when I'm creating an offer, I'm like, what am I really putting out there into the world, into the ether? Like, what are my intentions? What are my feelings? Am I thinking about the people I can serve? Or am I thinking about the money I can make by putting this out there? And it feels much more grounded. And I can notice a difference when people react to the offer. There's a sense of joy that they receive. And I know that energetically is because there was a lot of service that went into creating that offer, and they sense it. They sense it.
100%. The frequency of belief, basically.
Yeah.
I love how, it for many it doesn't seem like there are a lot of commonalities or connections between the different personalities and niches, I guess, and service providers and people in general, because there are like 8.5 billion realities out there just trying to commingle. But
right,
it's so interesting that energy and alignment and frequencies, they're always like, yeah, I know what you mean, because I felt that same thing. And then how we portray that or respond to that is extremely interesting.
Well, to respond to what you said and to put a different spin on it, so rather than there being 8 billion different realities, there's one reality and there's 8 billion different perceptions of that reality.
Perfect answer. Yes, I know exactly what you're saying.
Yeah. I had a feeling.
And then you can, and that just opens up so many more paths, right? No, you're just a universe exploring yourself and again observing yourself through yourself. That's just, there are so many fascinating topics that can set your mind and reality free. Literally.
So I'm really enjoying this conversation. I'm glad that I jumped on, and I knew it'd be a great thing for me to really engage with you as our first live conversation. And one thing you mentioned earlier is how like you're afraid, right? You're fearful. You're figuring it out. You're not exactly sure what to do, but you're going to do it anyway. And entrepreneurship can feel really lonely. It can be really scary. It's like you have this vision, this calling, you have this mission, and you just got to take action to get it out there to the people who are going to benefit from it. And you believe you're going to find them. But going back to how I was saying that the truest essence of entrepreneurship is that it's being a force for good, it doesn't have to be as lonely as most people make it out to be. And that's one thing I've experienced where, like, where are all these other entrepreneurs who actually care, who actually value relationships, who are actually innovating rather than just doing another version of someone else's brand? And honestly, that's one reason why I'm here too, because I saw that you're starting something new. I want to show my support because I know it can be lonely. I know that it's tough to get something out there. And it's just like, if it's meaningful to them, I want to find out why. And I want to support them and I want to encourage them. And I want to have them as an ally. And there's no better way to get allies than to support people when they're just starting something new.
The word ally, was there any specific reason why you chose that specific word?
I've been using the word ally a lot over the last few months.
Nice.
It's all about alliances, and it's just it for me it carries a lot more meaningful resonance, because what words do we use in business? We use referral. We
Affiliate.
use affiliate.
Yeah.
It just doesn't have that same
No.
resonance. And ally, right? Alliances, and these four words that I think about like over and over again, like every day. And every time I say it, I feel that it becomes more empowered, more powerful. It's this idea, this concept, this vision of synergistic business cross-pollination.
Oh, damn. Nice.
It's good, right?
Yeah, that's good.
It's good. Yeah, let me say it one more time. Synergistic business cross-pollination.
Yeah.
And that's some of what I mean by scaling with relationships. How can you do it? You build alliances. You know people authentically. You know people's mission. You know their vision. You know their heart. You know their mind. You know that they're working on the connection between their heart and their mind.
Yes.
And when you know someone in your network that has an issue, you say, hey, you talk to this person because they're legit.
That's tribe, man. Literally. Like you're having they say that it takes a village to raise a kid, right? I agree 100% because if they get perspectives from a whole bunch of experiences, then that's all the better. And we have this entire thing right now. You are part of the tribe. That's why we're talking right now, because you came through the thing and we're a tribe. It's the overall, the overarching power of it all. I think it's the camaraderie between like brothers and sisters fighting for the same thing, and if that same thing is how much can they provide of value to the world, that is powerful. And just seeing how with enough like-minded people doing the same thing, it's not about competition. It's not about any other thing than to create the best thing one can together. And over time, I guess I learned the hard way, doing it alone not as fun or as easy. But having just conversations like this, tremendous value for people who are already on that path, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. People who are feeling a little bit isolated or alone, right? Like a conversation like this can give them the motivation or inspiration to keep on going, or even more than that, they'll join your community or they'll join my community. Better than that, they'll join both. And then because they join our communities, we find out about their community and we both join theirs. Like that's the synergistic business cross-pollination, where I'm going to refer to business because I just think about business all the time. I love business. There's too much competition.
Yeah.
Right. It's just like tribe fighting with tribe rather than us being one unified tribe. And we share clients, we share audiences, we share customers. And because the individuals who are looking for solutions, like they sense the goodwill at the core of this synergistic business cross-pollination, like they feel there's something different. Like, who are these people who are allied when most other people are in competition with each other?
Yeah.
There's so much goodwill here. Let me check that out. And then they just become part of the tribe too. Another thing that I've been having a lot of conversations about lately, because these conversations are really an extension of my internal dialogue and my contemplations. It's this idea of shared authority, which you've touched on.
Yeah.
There's too much competition, and to share authority with another influencer, another brand, to share audiences, there's this essential softening of the ego. There's this letting go of the ego that most people are too afraid to do. And it is scary because it is vulnerable to share your authority, but there has to be a lot of trust, a lot of authenticity that happens because you've developed the relationship, that you can share authority, knowing that, well, you're not going to get stabbed in the back. And what happens is, yeah, I've been stabbed in the back. I've been stabbed in the back multiple times. I'm sure you have too, because I felt that some of the conversation you were alluding to was going that way. It's tricky, but you got to keep trusting. You got to keep trusting, even though there's no reason to trust, because there are trustworthy people out there. And it's difficult, but the sooner you find someone that you can be vulnerable with, you place your trust in, and that trust is reciprocal, like that's that healing, right? That heals the wound of all the other backstabbing you got, because you just have that solid relationship of trust that you're looking for all along, right? So it's
That was
it's
beautiful.
interesting dynamic, right?
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm learning a lot about the world just from business, right?
Yeah.
Like, as you can see, yeah.
100%. Like the whole entrepreneurship business venture, that is definitely the best personal development program I've ever been part of.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And V
I've
loves this
heard
too. I actually
the, what
bookmarked.
is it?
You just we have a legacy forger called V, and he's currently in the comments, and he
Oh,
just
cool,
hearted
cool.
your speech, your artistic expression. I actually bookmarked it because
Yeah,
that was beautiful.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
I think this is just the start of very interesting relationship going forward, because I love to keep
yeah.
these conversations going when I have, when there's alignment from the get go. You want to have more of those conversations, and we've just opened up a whole bunch of different paths that we can choose to go
Oh
down as
yeah.
we get to know each other. But
Definitely. I believe that this is the start of our alliance. I believe it.
exactly,
I feel it within my heart, my soul. And it's the first time. It's the first time. I was just saying this to someone earlier today. I do this weekly call on Saturdays because I am looking to launch a community of leaders. And the whole idea of this is a community for leaders making space for other leaders. That
100%.
shared authority,
Yeah.
that's spotlighting other leaders. And we were sharing what's alive, what's meaningful for us this week, this month. And my share was, I'm just meeting the right people. I'm getting on calls with individuals for the first time, and I feel like I can't believe this is our first conversation because it's so resonant. And I'm having a conversation like this the same day after I said that with you. Like, it's so amazing. Probably because I'm aware of it, I'm talking about it,
Yeah.
I'm attracting it. I'll say something about business and leadership. And one thing that's also on my mind a lot these days is business leadership, conscious business leadership. So the idea that I heard from one of my mentors is that if you feel called to business, if you feel called to entrepreneurship, there are some wounds that you have that can only be healed by going on the journey of being an entrepreneur. And I was like, damn, that's deep. And it resonates. And I know it's true. And the same thing goes for leadership too. If you're called to be a leader, there are some wounds that need to be healed that can only be healed by going on that journey of becoming a leader. So I just wanted to share that because I felt that it was the ideal time for that.
100%. 100%. And also because I had $4 million in debt at 20 years old with no job, at the criminal debt. So it was like, oh shit, that just happened. And I can resonate 100% with what you're saying. Like, my journey has been a composition of many. So I lost my family to deportation. That's one. There's a lot of things, and every single thing, every single journey has been incorporated into this. And as you say that, like, I resonate 100% because everything in Saga or anything that we do in the coaching, and me as a coach will pull on those experiences as my tool belt, right? So it shaped everything, and every time it was just to get more clarity for myself so that I knew how to deal with the wounds. So, dude, that is powerful as hell.
Yeah.
And you kind of know that to some degree, but you really don't think about it in that
We
context.
Do. Right. You do. Right. It's like we know. I mean, that's what the insights or the perception shifts are. Like those shifts in perception, which are so dynamic and so like wow and it's not even that it's something new. It's something we've known all along, and it's just we finally realize it. Like we finally embrace the truth of it. And again, that's one reason why I love having conversations with the right kinds of individuals that I'm very allied with, because they bring more of that subconscious nature to the surface. And it's just like, wow, like what else can we awaken together? What can we awaken for other people that are listening to us? And it's a pleasure to be here for sure.
It's a pleasure to have you. And also, speaking of that,
Thank you.
that is the reason why I'm doing this, because I was doing it for so long. Nobody really said anything. You think you were doing just alone, but I had these wounds to heal, so I just kept on doing it for myself. And then people started to like reach out and say, "I see what you're doing there. Thank you for that." Like people would see this video in the year 3500, and it might help with some mindset that has just been a symptom of me and you and everyone else forging their legacies didn't do our job correctly, so they still have to learn what love is. And just so we're all of these, every single minute of a video I see as our legacies. My kids can get to know me on a deeper level just by watching these in the future.
Yeah, that resonates a lot.
Yeah.
But only is it going to be meaningful years, hundreds of years from now, if we're speaking our truths.
Exactly.
If we're speaking from the heart. Exactly. If we're speaking from our embodied experience, rather than just regurgitating information. And I sense that with you. And it's rare. It's rare that people are actually listening to each other and actually speaking from the heart.
Yeah. I have something I want to share with you before I have to toss you out.
Sure. Go for it.
I did this. We have several events, and one of these physical events, we like to go deep, right? And we have used plant medicine and other things to do these things. And last time I wrote a few things in the pages. I was just starting to scribble down. So on this one, it said, "We walk in the dark and turn the flashlight to show the trodden path." So basically just flipping the light and showing other people how they can have a better journey on that same path. But also, we look for the answers others have written, reading to find truth, instead of writing the words ourselves. To write the answers, to go based on the experience and the feelings you had to kind of embody, and then see how you can make that make sense for other people who didn't hear a shit about the same solution from another person and another person's vocabulary. It has so much to, there's so much power in just sharing your value and experiences, your insights.
Yeah.
And it's interesting.
You wrote that?
Yeah, because I was connected to the universe at the time. So I was like,
it's good. It's really good. I was like, wow.
Yeah. It's gonna.
Did you recite that? You wrote that. That's really good.
It's that this. I got this from a shaman in Norway on top of a mountain where it was insane. But it's parchment, and he said it's a spell book. So papyrus and stuff inside, and then I can just go through these ceremonies and just reflect and write these pages in there, and who knows what this will contain when it's filled. It's going to be a treasure to my own mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The connection there is that you say it's a spell book and you write in it, and when you write, you're spelling. Like that's the connection between spells and spelling, right? It's just like spells are words. It's the power of words. That's all it is.
And words are the power of actions. Like I've used this. I smoke, right? I have some vices, and I said that I can make anything happen. I can create magic, but first I have to have the thought or the words, and then I have to do it. So this was not a thing in my mouth just a few seconds ago, and if I rolled it, it wouldn't exist before I rolls it, and I can have other people roll it for me if I communicate correctly what I want them to do, and they believe in why they should do it. So all of a sudden, the spelling, magic, we can create anything if we can make sense of what we want. And that is powerful.
Yeah. Wow. I feel if we don't conclude now, we're going to go down another rabbit hole. So let's wrap it up. And I look forward to having another conversation with you.
Right,
and such a pleasure. So grateful to finally connect with you in this space. And I knew it was going to happen. I just didn't know it was going to happen today, right now, but it was the right time because we're here.
Exactly. Once it happens, it just goes. I know exactly what you mean. We're going to talk a lot more about that. Thank you, Justin, and I will have his information in the details below. Thank you so much for taking the call.
Thank you so much, Tor. Yeah.
It was amazing.
Have a good one.
You too.
I'll be watching later.
Fantastic. All right, so that's just proof of this entire thing. As I said in the beginning, we haven't prepared for anything other than just preparing to prepare.